This is KUGAN CASSIUS for iPhone TV in association with MTK Global. We're in New York City.
It's Eddie Hearn's at Madison Square Gardens. Neither have an S on the end. What a gaff.
I know.
What a gaff. Are you getting that bit in?
Yeah, it's all in.
The top, the yellow bit as well, yeah?
What yellow bit?
Up the top.
Oh, at the top, yeah. A little pan up. There we go. Launch press conference for June the 1st. Madison Square Garden, exactly where we are. We're at the first press conference.
Yep. Busy this morning. AJ was ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, which was brilliant. And yeah, just ready for the main press conference now, 1:30 for the big one. Joshua Miller, WBO, IBF, WBA, IBO, World Heavyweight titles here at the Mecca of Boxing. An absolute honour to be promoting an event in this building, and an honour to be promoting the World Heavyweight Championship at Madison Square Garden. I can't quite believe it, actually. Can't quite believe it.
It's safe to say that kind of you've said out loud that this was never kind of the first choice for Joshua for this fight he was going to have, whether it be April or June. But is it fair to say this is your fourth choice?
I think it's our first choice. Well, probably the second choice if you're talking about an American fight after Wilder. But in terms of what he wanted, he wanted the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. I think everybody wants to win an undisputed world title, especially if you're a world champion or a unified world champion. Obviously, that wasn't available. We had the Dillian Whyte negotiations, and I think one thing that we've always done is tried to take the initiative and try and take things in your own control and not let other things happen. And we saw, like in the last 24 hours, now we're sort of sitting there going, blimey, thank God we made our move, because anything can happen in this game, you know? So you've got to almost focus on yourself, like anything in your life, in your business. Worry about yourself, worry about your own moves. You can't control what other people do. So this was important to us. After a while that we said April 13, we wanted to go to Wembley. But, coming here for the Canelo fight, everything just rolled into one. Obviously the DAZN situation, Jarrell Big Baby Miller being available, other people being tied up. It just rolled into one. And now that we've done it, now that we're here, I could even see by the look of on his face this morning, this is big, this is a big opportunity for him. And although we've created something amazing in the UK, and people talk about British boxing boom and the people responsible for it, of course it's mainly me, but what are you laughing at? But on a serious note, AJ is probably the main reason for that boom. And everybody should be thankful, actually, to what he has done for British boxing. He's not looking for a pat on the back, but look at how far we've come in terms of the stadiums and the numbers and all that kind of stuff. And even the fact that he's able to come here, a British world heavyweight champion, and fill up Madison Square Garden in a world championship defence. It's incredible. So, truly, I think this is a major, major moment for his career and a major moment for his legacy. And it's not the number one choice, because that is the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, but it's a dangerous fight in Madison Square Garden, and this place is going to be absolutely jumping for a night that you will not forget. I promise you, if you're coming to this arena or you're watching at home in the UK on Sky Sports, you will not forget this night. There's going to be so much anticipation. There's like 15, 16 weeks till the event. We've got the undercard that we're working on, we've got other major, say too much, but sporting events and events happening for British fight fans on the Thursday and Friday and Saturday leading up to this event in New York. Watch this space on that as well. And we're blessed. We're blessed to be out here doing this. I was looking at some photos with AJ on a plane last night about when he actually, one was with you. There's a picture of you two messing around in the office. Do you remember? You were like spar. You were shadow boxing with him. You were like about 25 stone. He was like, his neck was about half the size. And he just used to say, I used to come in the office thinking, hopefully Eddie will buy me a Nando's after training. You remember when he just used to come in and you used to muck around in the office? And now I was sitting on the plane thinking, mate, you're on your way to stage a press conference at MSG to defend your unified heavyweight world championship at the most iconic boxing arena in the world. Fuck, you gotta love that. And I know there are haters, and I know there are people that, but you can't knock the hustle. You can't knock the hustle. Look at where we are. We are lucky people.
Would you say you did everything within your kind of power and what you could do to kind of eliminate those other fights and they couldn't happen? You did everything
Yeah, I mean,
in your
certainly
power
with the
to make
Deontay
sure.
Wilder fight, I couldn't have tried any harder to establish contact, to start negotiations or to refresh negotiations. But at least with Fury, we were talking. There was a communication path. If I messaged him, if he called, like we would get back to each other. But with Wilder, it was so frustrating because there was nothing. There was a conversation after the Wilder Fury fight with Shelley, who said, like, let's just keep this low key, away from the media. I said, I can't agree with you more. Let's get this fight made. And then all of a sudden, it went completely quiet. And people don't realise about a lot of the conversations were about staging that fight in the US. That was another something that he was willing to concede potentially to come here to try and make that fight. But we couldn't even get a reply. We couldn't even get a sorry, Eddie, we're not interested in this fight. Or like, if you don't like the terms, tell me the terms that you do like. So that was incredibly frustrating. The Whyte stuff, we got to a situation where 3 offers were made. It just didn't seem like that fight was going to get over the line.
He knocked back all 3 offers,
Yes,
Dylan Whyte.
yes.
Okay, and you weren't prepared to kind of
Look,
go any
the
further
last
with
lot,
that.
look, for me, like again, we've been over this, and it's hard for me to talk because I represent both guys, and I've got a lot of love for both guys, but there was not going to be any improvement on that final offer. So that's how it was, and he wasn't going to accept that. So we move on. And Gerald Miller, I mean, it wasn't just a case of Miller, oh blimey, oh Gerald, look, you've got the fight, congratulations, this is how much you're getting, see you next week. It was Salita and those boys over there. They know they're in a great position because they know they've got the perfect guy for Joshua's US debut. And the problem is we live in a world now where there's no secrets, the numbers, everything's out there. He made this offer, he turned down this much. So although everybody was talking to each other internally, it wasn't difficult for people to find out who was being offered what. And that's not easy. It's not a great position for us to be in because everybody's bouncing off each other.
You can answer these next 2 points together if you like. There are cynical people out there that believe that Gerald Miller was always going to be fighting Joshua, and there are people out there that are disappointed that Joshua is fighting Gerald Miller. What do you say to those people?
Well, the first thing, you can speak to Dimitri Salita, who's over there, and he'll tell you that the first offer for Gerald Miller was probably made 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I mean, like as little as that. I'm responding to the question that this fight was always going to happen. It's been planned for years and years. So the first offer was made 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if this fight was always going to happen, surely we would actually get this in place months ago. Like, people were saying that, in December they knew this fight was going to happen. No, absolutely not. We knew that if we came to America, Gerald Miller would be that guy. My answer to people that say they don't like this fight, so obviously Wilder Fury weren't available for whatever reason. Obviously we found out in the last 24 hours that fight might look like it might not even happen. Come on to that. But at the time, that fight's ordered, that fight's mandated. Effectively, both of those have told us they're fighting each other and they're not fighting AJ. Okay, so who do you want us to fight? Dillian Whyte? Okay, we tried to make that fight. There was a lot of people out there saying, we don't want him to fight Dillian Whyte. He's already knocked Dillian Whyte out. We don't want him. So they're the same people, so you can't win. So what we decided was, okay, we understand, the British fight fans, that Gerald Miller at Wembley was probably not the one. So we did something different. We came here. We're going to be creating a special card here, a special night. So I think we've done the right move. And every day, every second I spend here, that reinforces my argument. I think this is massive for him, massive. And you try and overcome some criticism and counter it. Like, no one knows who Joshua is in the US. All right, we'll come and fight out here then. Oh, I can't believe Joshua's fighting in the US. It's like, you can't win. So for me, this is a very credible fight. It's a tough fight, and it's a tough fight particularly because we're in new territory. When you're talking about time zones, commissions, arenas, everything, it's a different mindset fighting in an arena. When was the last time you boxed in an arena? Eric Molina, November 2016. So he wouldn't have boxed in an arena for close to 3 years. So I don't know. I'm expecting him to come and look absolutely what he is, the best heavyweight on the planet, and knock Gerald Miller out. But I know Gerald Miller. I know what this means to him. It's going to be a tough fight.
Do you admit that you made a huge mistake announcing that second Wembley date?
No, because that was the deal that was done, and that was always the plan.
So what do you say to people that, I know there's probably not loads of them, but there probably are some people
I'm sure
that
there was,
would have kind of travel arrangements, etc., hotels and that, etc.
I would just say, I mean, I would always wait till a fight is announced personally. But
you made a big announcement about it.
That was the plan.
Fights.
That was the plan. That was always the plan. But plans changed, unfortunately, and we couldn't get the fight that I feel that the British public would have wanted. So we did something different.
How have tickets gone for this? Because you said that. Tell me what you tweeted.
So there was a pre-sale,
right.
MSG pre-sale. So the pre-sale was the biggest grossing. In fact, it wasn't just the biggest grossing; it was double the biggest grossing pre-sale of all time in boxing history at MSG. So what that means is there was more money. There was twice as much money taken in the pre-sale to Joshua Miller as any other boxing event that has ever been staged at Madison Square Garden. And I saw your message. Well, how many tickets is that? The answer is the pre-sale amount. So at the moment, I would say they're sitting on, I don't know exactly, 5,000 or 6,000 in the pre-sale sales, something like that. Obviously, we have Fight Pass, we have Sports World packages, and we go on general sale today. So I would expect us to be over half sold after day one of general sale, which is for these, it's phenomenal.
So you're obviously expecting to
sell out. Yeah,
sell
I believe. I mean, yeah, fuck it. I'll just say 100% this is going to sell out. Yeah, I think. It would. I mean, we've got 14 or 15 weeks. So, and I think that with Fury Wilder looking like it may not happen, it helps a lot in terms of British fight fans travelling, because obviously if you've got that event in May and you've got this 2 weeks later, you may wait and see if that fight happens, and you might want to travel to watch Wilder Fury, you might want to travel to watch AJ. So now you can just book your flights for AJ, knowing that it's very unlikely that May 18 at Barclays that fight's going to happen.
Obviously, this is the first time that Joshua will be fighting in the UK of a time of around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Earlier than that, about 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does that affect pay-per-view? What kind of numbers are you looking for?
I mean, obviously it's not going to be as strong as a fight that's at 10 p.m, but we've got big plans for this night. Obviously it's coming off the Champions League final as well, which is going to finish about 10 p.m, which is perfect. My plan, talking to Adam Swift and Sky this morning, is that we go on air around 10 p.m, and we start the championship fights. The entire one side of the card will be Brits. Every single fight on that left-hand side of the card, well, there might be a couple of challengers, so every fight will involve a Brit, right? So we're going to be live with the fights from 10 or 11 p.m. UK time. Joshua's going to be in the ring at 3 a.m. So I expect massive numbers, and I think the time this comes around, the time the build-up is complete, the time these iconic images of AJ opening the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, the Empire State Building, and I'm sure this press conference is going to be lively as well, I think everyone's going to be staying up. I mean, that's what we used to do in the old days when big fights were coming in from the US, and it was a thing. So on June the 1st, you're going to watch your football, then you're going to turn on Sky, you're going to watch a load of major Brits in major title fights from MSG, and then you're going to watch an atmosphere that is going to resemble the likes of Hatton when he boxed in Vegas, and it's going to be absolutely mental in here, and I think it's going to do huge numbers. We've seen from Joshua's fights, Klitschko, Parker, even Povetkin. I mean, there's 3 fights there that have done over probably 3.5 million buys for those 3 fights. So he's the biggest box office draw by a mile in the UK, and we hope that this fight will go some way to improve that profile over here and to launch him in America.
Some industry sources.
Some what?
Industry sources.
Yeah.
You heard that one before? Industry sources say that as little as 16,000 people watched Joshua in America on DAZN. Can you make any comment on that?
Absolute bollocks. I think one industry source quoted it, who then deleted it. Absolute rubbish. There'll be more people watching this fight on DAZN than watched his fight or his last 2 fights on Showtime. Not put together.
Okay.
But the last audiences for who's the fights? Parker and Takam. The audience on DAZN will beat that number for this fight.
And what was that number?
350,000, 400,000. So
that's quite a statement then.
Well, look at the fights coming up on DAZN.
Okay.
You've got Canelo, Danny Jacobs. You got Joshua against Miller. You got Usyk. You got Rungsavai against Estrada. You got Bivol against Joe Smith. You got all the Bellator. We just saw it. So the numbers are going to be huge on DAZN. So I'm not bothered about. When you look at the pay-per-view numbers, 300,000 people watched Wilder Fury. So let's just say there'll be more people watching on DAZN for Miller against Joshua than watch Wilder Fury in the States.
Well, we'll come back to that after the event, see if that's actually happened.
Well, I mean, it will, but okay.
Let's go back to yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of a surprising announcement that Tyson Fury had signed a co-promotional deal with Bob Arum, Top Rank. Your initial thoughts to that?
I was surprised. I mean, I can see the logic behind it. I mean, I think, Frank doesn't have that US business, so he needs someone to fund that side of things. Top Rank are a great company. I think it was a deal done by Tyson Fury and MTK, not done by Frank Warren, but I don't know the ins and outs. I think they've done a great job for him. But, I mean, logic in the sense that it's a big US outlet for him. ESPN don't have a major heavyweight player. Now they do. The surprising thing was it's probably ended the talks of Wilder Fury for, say, May or something like that. Everything that I'm reading, I don't know the ins and outs, is that Wilder Fury will headline in May in the States on ESPN against someone. And then I don't know where that leaves that fight. I think it's great news for us in terms of the Wilder fight and the undisputed fight, because if I'm Deontay Wilder, what I'm thinking now is, fuck me, that looks messy, let's go and make the Joshua fight. I hope that's what he's thinking. And more interestingly than all of yesterday's developments was Deontay Wilder coming out and saying, I am a network free agent. I mean, if I'm Stephen Espinoza, I'd be waking up with hot flushes. I mean, someone's got to towel him down this morning, because that is brutal. Brutal. You've boxed on this platform on Showtime for, I don't know, dozens and dozens of fights. You've just boxed a pay-per-view on Showtime, and you've basically just woken up and gone, I ain't got a contract with Showtime, I'll box anywhere I want. That's going to be really uncomfortable for Al Heyman and the PBC, because Fox and Showtime are going to go, well, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be with us. So what stops Wilder doing a deal with ESPN? What stops Wilder doing a deal with DAZN? I mean, like I said, there would have been a lot of people sweating yesterday. So, I think, I think it's an interesting move. I can't knock the move, but obviously they've done it with the mindset that the Wilder fight may not happen. I think they've accepted, and by the sounds of everything yesterday, they're not that bothered if the Wilder fight happens. I know Fury said, I'd like it, but that's the fight.
Aaron was saying that he'd like them to have a fight in between and then fight in September,
yeah.
I believe. So
again, it's not what the fight fans want, and it's not what was supposed to happen, but it's boxing. And I don't know, like I say, I heard the news. The first thing I thought was, wow, what a great chance for us to make the Joshua Wilder fight. Because if Fury goes elsewhere and doesn't take that fight, Deontay can have his fight in May, June, July, and then fight Joshua for the undisputed fight. So I was quite hopeful. So I don't know, we're going to reach out again to Shelley, and I've even reached out to Deontay to say, look, I can't get a response from your team. Can you just tell me, if you don't want to make the Joshua fight, just tell me to fuck off and I'll never contact you again. But surely this is a chance now. One name, one face, one champion. Josh has got to get past Jarrell Miller. He's got to get past whoever he fights next. But it's there again. My worry with the Wilder Fury fight was maybe Fury wins. Maybe there's a rematch clause. I don't know. Maybe there's a rubber match. So now I'm looking at it thinking, wow, what a chance to get this undisputed fight back on. But June the 1st, AJ's got to take care of business, and then we'll see. But it was interesting.
hypothetically, if an offer came from ESPN and Fury to fight Joshua, he wouldn't be allowed contractually?
Yes, he can.
Oh, he can.
He's got a fight by fight with DAZN. They've got him on a first last. It's all very transparent.
So that could be an option for him to partner
he could do.
ESPN.
Ultimately, ESPN and DAZN have a good relationship. They're a similar platform digitally. I'm talking about DAZN and ESPN Plus. You've got John Skipper, who used to run ESPN. You've got Bob Arum and Todd DeBerth and Carl Moretti, who I have a very good relationship with. I believe there is a deal to be done, probably with ESPN and DAZN, not necessarily with Top Rank and Matchroom, but to try and make that happen. For us, it's not about Fury or Wilder, it's just about that belt. So we want that belt. Josh wants that belt. So if Fury has that belt, he wants Fury. If Wilder has that belt, he wants Wilder. So, but again, Wilder Joshua, massive fight. Wilder Fury, massive fight. The only one that's restricted, probably out of the three, by the sounds of things, is Tyson Fury, because he's the one who actually has got the network contract with ESPN that can't fight anywhere else. So maybe he can't get the Wilder fight anymore, or the AJ fight, and maybe they fight each other. I don't know. It's going to be
one
interesting.
of those fighters come to that platform.
Maybe, but maybe they won't.
Let that happen anyway, would you?
What?
You wouldn't allow Joshua to go and fight on ESPN.
Why?
Would you?
But at the end of the day, we'll sit down with DAZN, we'll sit down with Joshua, and we'll do what's best for his career.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not. Look, we know where we want to be, and that's on DAZN with Joshua. But I believe John Skipper and ESPN and Bob Arum and us collectively could do a deal to make it happen. I don't know the dynamics of the deal, but that relationship's very good. Bob Arum's relationship with Al Heyman is fucking horrendous. So that it's not a case of, do you know what he said about Showtime yesterday? I mean, it wasn't exactly the comment to be made to start this. I can't even remember. I mean, it was like, now Fury's got a proper platform behind him, unlike Showtime, which is, I mean...
Is it when he made reference to the biggest mouthpiece or megaphone or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But, no, I think, like I said, I think this is a case of Fury's looked at it. He probably wasn't happy with his current position promotionally and said, we need some help, we need some ammunition. And I think Tyson Fury and MTK have gone out, spoke to Top Rank, and I think Frank's also got a relationship with Bob, and it's just come together, and I can't knock it. If he's got a big financial deal that's taken care, I mean, it's only going to charity anyway, isn't it? So it's fantastic.
So in your opinion, with the top three heavyweights in the world, all being with different broadcasters, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's pushing these fights further apart.
It's definitely pushing the fights. If they were with the same platform, obviously it would be a lot easier for them to make. It's not impossible, but I mean, Wilder's come out and said, I am not with Showtime. He's actually gone like that and said, Showtime, who are they? Come and offer me. What that was like a call out last night, saying, come on, let's see what you got. So he's in a situation now where he can fight on any platform. That's what he's saying. If the deal's right, if the DAZN are happy, from an American point of view, Joshua can fight on any platform. But of course, DAZN, DAZN, in my opinion, will pay more money than any platform to get those fights. But again, what's important is June the 1, on DAZN, on Sky Sports, Madison Square Garden, Jarrell Miller. But if I'm Deontay Wilder, I hope that he's thinking, okay, let's go and make the Joshua fight.
Okay, other news yesterday, obviously, Billy Joe Saunders has decided not to fight Demetrius Andrade, step up to 168 and fight for the vacant WBO title. You're shaking your head,
because
Edward.
I think it's a joke, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't blame Billy Joe, and I don't even blame Frank Warren, because they're taking a fight against, who's it, Shefat Isitututu. I mean, how that fight is for a world title, I'll never know. But Frank is very, very good at that. Getting himself in a position with the WBO to fight for vacant belts against unknowns. And actually, ironically, that's what happened to Demetrius Andrade. But that happened because Billy Joe Saunders failed a drugs test. So finally, we get to a position where he gets the mandatory back, Billy Joe. So finally, we can say Demetrius Andrade is fighting Billy Joe Saunders, and what a brilliant middleweight fight is. I can't stress enough. I think Billy Joe Saunders is a brilliant middleweight. Really good, and I was so looking forward to that fight. And we made them an offer. Spoke to MTK, made them an offer that wasn't a million miles away. Like, it was so generous in terms of his split in that fight.
What was the split meant to be?
70-30 if he travels.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was probably more like. It was probably 50%. In fact, I tell you, it was more than Andrade was getting for that fight. Because I really wanted to make that fight happen.
When did you learn of this then? Obviously,
I got told a few days ago, yeah. So I haven't said anything because it wasn't my place to say anything, but I was just gutting because... But listen, again, he's going to get a world title at super middleweight, so I'm not knocking Billy Joe, but it's just gutting where it's twice now he's pulled out of the fight against Andrade. And it's a really good fight that we wanted to make happen. And I think Andrade wanted it as well, because he'll get the criticism of, oh,
you can't really knock Andrade now.
of course
I suppose,
not. How can you knock Andrade? Billy Joe failed a drugs test. What's he supposed to do? So he gets a vacant title shot. Then they mandate Billy Joe Saunders. Brilliant. Now we get the fight. He's backed out of the fight again. So you can't knock on Demetrius Andrade. Very frustrating. And in good news, I think the WBL will make Golovkin the mandatory.
Yeah, what's the
But
situation?
I don't think that. I mean, look,
Andrade and Golovkin.
well, Golovkin's next in line, so I think
Are
he'll
they
be.
going to order it? To your
I think they will, but look,
yeah.
I'm not. Andrade's not going to be taking. Gennadi's not going to be taking 30% against Andrade, is he? So I don't know whether there's a deal to be done there, whether that's even a fight to be looked at. Apparently, according to sources, that fight's already been discussed and agreed. Industry sources. No, it hasn't been, but we'll see. It's a great fight.
Any update on Golovkin and DAZN?
No.
Still talking?
Yep.
Okay, Dylan Whyte.
Mm-hmm.
What is the current situation regarding
Nothing.
his fight
So
with Dominic Brazil?
they've the WBC have ordered that fight. I mean, look, Wilder could end up fighting Brazil, could end up fighting Dillian. Who knows?
He listed 3 opponents.
Yeah,
Dillian,
Konaki, but look, they're going to want to pay someone as little as possible. So Brazil or Konaki are certainly going to come in the line before Dillian Whyte in that respect. But listen, we'd love to talk about the Wilder fight. We'd love to talk about the Brazil fight. But right now, the WBC have officially ordered Brazil against Dillian Whyte for the interim World Championship, with the winner being the mandatory
when
for
a
the
purse bid
WBC.
to do for that?
Be about another 3 weeks. So
And you think what will happen before then? Or do you think
I don't think a lot will happen. I mean, I think Heyman will want the fight on Showtime. We have no problem with that necessarily, but we'd like to fight here on DAZN. As long as it's on the Sky Sports in the UK, we don't mind. It's a big fight in the UK. You could do it in America. Everything's in play right now.
So the other day you said it was a slim chance of him fighting on
He
April
won't fight on
20th.
April
It's definitely
20th,
not.
no.
Okay, so what is the crack with your April 20th show?
Well, we're trying to close Chisora against Parker, which we're pretty close to. Obviously, Allen against Brown is done for that card as well. Looking at Takam against Hunter as well. PBK, Josh Kelly on that card. Conor Benn may come back on that card. Some other big domestic fights planned for that card, but we've got to box it off this weekend, really. Obviously, it's Amir Khan.
Saturday night fight.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, obviously, you've got Amir Khan the same night as well. Do we do a double header? There's a lot in play at the moment.
So, okay, if it is Amir Khan as well as that, that would be a pay-per-view night.
Possibly, if it depends how strong the O2 card was.
But if you're not getting Khan for some reason, then
No, it won't be.
that would just be a
Correct.
standard Saturday
Correct.
night. And you're looking to announce that
Next week.
next week?
Yeah.
Warrington and Galahad, purse bid you lost. Obviously, it's good to hear from Frank Warren.
Fantastic. I mean,
That won't be a pay-per-view.
no. I mean, I don't know what the ticket prices are going to be, but I mean, fair play to him. I mean, listen, I'm just an accountant, aren't I? But I know with that purse bid, I don't like the look of the accounts on that one. But maybe he's got something up his sleeve. I don't know. But listen, if he can do that as a Saturday night fight, good luck to him. It's going to be a good fight. So I think they'll announce that next week.
Okay. What else is going on?
We've got Tehran this weekend. Obviously, Leicester show's not happening on BT this weekend. That's been off for about 2 weeks, but they decided to cancel it yesterday. And you raising your eyebrows. You want me to say it, don't you? They're going on March the 23rd, same night as us. You wanted me to say it, didn't you?
No, well, it is happening.
I can't remember. What did Frank say in your interview?
All right, well, I got tweeted a lot about this.
I can't remember it. What did
No,
he say?
Frank said that he wouldn't go on the date of
Ever.
a show. That's what Frank said.
Did he?
But he has now, so I haven't spoke to Frank
Okay,
yet. I
that's
wasn't
fine.
at the press conference to see, but when I see Frank, I'll ask him about it, and I'm sure he'll answer it. So
It's no problem.
It's one of
I don't
those.
care. But as long as people realise that when we go on the same night as them, you got to give them the same response when they go on the same night as us, which apparently in your interview, I haven't played it back yet. I liked to meme the other day saying, I will never ever go on the same night as another TV show or something like that. And obviously they've done it. But with all due respect, it ain't a very good show. So I don't think people even be bothered. We've got a World Championship fight, we've got 3 British title fights on that card as well. So I'll let you two ask him, because you always ask these really difficult questions.
it's not really a difficult question. He said it originally in my interview, so I have no problem re-asking that. Have you got anything else to comment on or slate me about? No? Careful.
No, you're out here, you know, in your Che Rood.
Do you know what? Can we bring in Adam? Because people think there's a little...
Oh, yeah.
Come in, Adam.
I'm still getting over his last interview, you know. He's loving it out here. He was at the New York Stock Exchange this morning. You see his face up there ringing a bell. He was loving it.
Ringing a bell.
How are
AJ's
you?
ringing a bell. I'm good. Fantastic
Is
to
he
be
pulling
here.
his weight?
Never mind him. This is the garden. This is where great history is. It's fantastic being in here. As Eddie said in his first answer to you, it's a wonderful place. It must be every promoter's dream to bring their fighters here. And it's a special.
I think it was
it's a
the
special
Canelo
arena
night as well. Because I haven't been here since, I think, the last time I came to Golovkin Lemieux, my dad brought me to, I think it was Lewis Holyfield.
Lewis Holyfield was here. Yeah.
My dad brought me to
March
that fight.
99.
99, I was 11.
Were you?
Yeah. 99. No, I was 10.
Frank Maloney with his
99?
Union Jack suit on. Yeah, 90.
No, I was 20.
March 1999.
Yeah, I was
You weren't
20.
10.
I was yeah. I was 20. And I remember coming here thinking, this is the nuts. But actually, for me, coming here for the Canelo night, and when AJ came,
Eugenia Williams' scorecard. It was an amazing night, that. And we were here when Prince Nassim Hamid fought Kevin Kelly in December 97.
maybe
That was
Lennox
quite
will come
something.
out of retirement for AJ.
He doesn't like him very much, does he?
I've never known anything like it, to be honest with you. But
He really doesn't like you.
who, Lennox?
I don't think. Well, I don't. Think
You
he
should ask
thinks
AJ
personal.
today. You should ask AJ about Lennox's comments.
Lennox was a
will.
wonderful fighter. He was one of the greats.
Adam, from our last interview, a lot of people kind of were saying, you know, Adam's obviously clearly not happy with certain situations, what's going on, etc., etc. And it was, I didn't think it was like an outspoken interview, you were just speaking your mind. But
I was trying to be honest, as
Yeah.
always.
But how did that make you feel, Edward?
It doesn't really. We just do our own thing.
Listen,
You know,
we've
I
worked
think that-
together. We've worked
I think
together
that
a long.
I think where we've taken boxing collectively, I mean, we
Correct.
wouldn't be where we are without Sky, and Sky wouldn't be where they are in boxing without us. Basically, it's been a great partnership.
And still is.
They gave us the control to be the sole promoter a long time ago and backed us when no one really wanted them to do that. And they took a big leap of faith doing that, which I think's been rewarded. But I think we can't ignore the landscape of boxing right now. We just got to make sure that all the great work we've done over the last few years isn't undone by fighters just coming to the States. I mean, you saw yesterday, Fury has basically looked at the landscape and said, I need to be fighting in America.
Yeah.
And that's where the money is. So, and there's other fighters out there, key fighters, who are looking at it the same way. So it's not just a case of, Matchroom are taking fighters to the States to put on DAZN. It's just the fact that fighters want to be coming to the States. And I think one of the problems that we've always had is the gulf between the normal rights fees and pay-per-view. And that's why you've seen an increase in pay-per-view over the last few years, because you're having to pay fighters, Dillian Whyte, even Kell Brook, Amir Khan to a certain extent. It's tough to put them in big fights, well, almost impossible, without going on pay-per-view. The fans' response is, we don't want pay-per-views. And even Sky's response is, Sky, believe it or not, don't want that many pay-per-views because they don't want to make their customers pay more money. They want to actually provide great value on Saturday night, fight night. But the industry...
Which I think was the issue. I think when we talked, it was the fact that we want great stuff at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. And we've been honest, both of us, the Ted Cheeseman bill wasn't...
Great fight, great night.
It turned out to be a good night, but it wasn't a great card. And I think in reaction to that, and maybe because of it, but certainly future looking forward, March the 23rd and March the 30th were two terrific cards that were put together by
March
Eddie.
2nd for next gen.
Yeah, March 2nd is a good card with Jordan Gill, and March the 23rd and 30th are exactly what we need. Provided we get those fights on a Saturday night back home
We'll stay in a job.
in England, then I will be happy. And I'll listen. It's a great relationship we've had, and Eddie's right. It's been Matchroom, it's been Sky, it's been AJ, and it's been the whole development of boxing, firstly in Britain, and now America wants a big piece of it.
Hypothetically, would it be a major concern to you if DAZN ended up coming to the UK, Adam?
Probably. I mean, if
Could
you're
you
being,
categorically rule that out or
if
not?
you're,
I don't work for DAZN. I
if
work
you're being-
for Sky in the UK. I've
Couldn't,
got a
if you're being
got many
honest-
years left on my contract to Sky, and
Is it a concern? Listen, Sky Sports is not just about boxing, as you well know. Right? We have the Premier League. We just announced all 4 golf majors. Formula One's about to kick off a new season. We've got the Ashes, the World Cup on cricket. We've got huge amounts on Sky Sports without boxing.
Bellator.
Yeah, we just signed Bellator up for the next year. So, but boxing's a massive part of what we've done. Big box office nights have been huge over the last 5 or 6 years particularly. But going way back to those nights we're talking about with Nassim Hamid coming here and with Lewis and Holyfield at the Garden and great big events through many, many years at Sky. And that will continue. But if DAZN are going to enter the UK market, of course, there's going to be competition. There's competition already with BT and
Where
with
does that leave you then? If that was
ITV
to
A
happen?
long-term relationship with Sky Sports. Sky
Absolutely.
Sports
Thank
is the
you,
home
Eddie.
of matchroom boxing
Thank you.
in the UK.
Thank
so
you. There
fight
you
fans
go.
don't have to worry about that. But the more competition, the better. I think one of the reasons why
You've
we've
got that on record as well. What he's just said. It's good.
Well, it's true. It's true.
It's good.
One thing about the UK fight nights and Sky Sports boxing is because of the pressure we've been under in the competition, we've had to keep raising the bar. If everybody just folded, there was probably a moment about 2 years ago where everyone just basically folded, and we could have got a little bit lazy. We probably did get a little bit lazy and sloppy. But people say to me, "Oh, do you think you're stretched at the moment? Do you think?" Of course we're stretched. We're doing 60 shows a year. We've launched in Germany, Italy, Spain. We're launching in Japan. We're launching in Canada. So obviously it's a massive expansion of our operation. When Sky,
That's not our business.
no, but when Sky suddenly exploded, do you think they weren't stretched? You've got to adapt to the business. But
Listen, it's great at the moment that we've got the American fights coming in, and there's a really good relationship with us and DAZN. We're working well together. Who knows what's going to happen? There's lots of different players who've come into the marketplace, linear-wise, streaming-wise, as we go forward. Amazon
I think
taking
you'll
the tennis,
find more
there's
as
all
well.
sorts.
But do you hope they don't enter the UK market?
do I hope they don't?
Well, it's a massive conflict of interest for you, isn't it? Surely.
No, I mean, it's,
Do you think they will?
yeah, I would expect that because
When?
of their global expansion.
But when will they?
No idea. I don't. I mean, they've just launched in Spain. There's other territories they're launching in. So I don't see UK as, I mean, you'd have to speak to John Skipper and people that are here. It's not my business. But all I know is the businesses where we have relationships with DAZN and where we have relationships with other broadcasters as our host broadcasters. That's Sky Sports in the UK, and we'll continue to do a great job for them for the duration of our contract and probably beyond. We've been working with Sky for 25 years.
Well, that's
it's
what-
not.
that's-
This
I
isn't
think-
like about.
I know
you
it's a
know,
business at the end of the day, though, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also about loyalty. It's about
It is a business,
it is a
KUGAN. It is a
business.
business, but we've had a very successful business
It's
for
not
a long
just
time.
boxing with Matchroom and Sky. It's everything.
darts.
Darts.
Look at
it's
the-
snooker. I mean, darts. Again, without Sky, darts wouldn't be where it is today.
Correct.
And obviously, without Matchroom and the PDC, darts wouldn't be where it is today. But Sky, the job that Sky have done for boxing and darts is unrivaled. And you can't just forget about when no one wanted boxing, when it was on its arse. Sky were the only people that were consistently backing the sport. When it was in the small halls and no one was interested, no one was going. They kept paying promoters when they actually shouldn't have been paying promoters. They shouldn't be paying the rights.
We
fees.
kept going up
But
and down the country,
Yeah,
you know
they
that.
kept boxing going. And without Sky, it wouldn't be here today. So it's not just about.
When things become successful, everybody wants
Yeah, of course.
a part of it, of course. But I think, we've been at Sky through thick and thin, and we made the decision to go with Eddie and Barry, which was the right decision at a time when the London Olympics were kicking off. AJ, Katie Taylor, all the success from that. Luke Campbell, Anthony Ogogo. It was a real vibe. Froch Groves was a huge event. Mayweather Pacquiao being made globally, and then you had AJ.
Do you remember, no
selling out
one
the
cared. No
stadiums.
one cared about. Look at boxing now. ITV, Channel 5, Sky, BT. And you talk about maybe DAZN, Amazon. I mean, like.
And look over here,
boxing is-
ESPN, Fox,
Yeah, over here, it's
Showtime,
mental.
HBO have had to go.
I mean, at least in the UK, the model's right. Over here, it's just
HBO did so
absolutely-
many of those great fights over here for so many years, and they've decided, Peter Nelson took it away, that they can't compete anymore.
Interesting times. It's a bit like IFL. IFL used to be the only channel in boxing. Now look at everybody on your heels and everything. I mean,
Do you
how
worry
feel
about that?
Do you worry about that, KUGAN?
No.
Do you worry that you're not as popular as you used to be? When you started out, everyone was giving you support. Now it's just hate, hate, hate. Do you care about that,
A
KUGAN?
lot of
Just
hate.
hate.
I'm glad you answered it because you know what cynical people are saying.
But
It's
look, when
interesting.
have I ever? I mean, look at the question you. Can you imagine asking Frank Warren questions like you've just asked us to?
Well, it's irrelevant.
It's not
It
irrelevant.
is irrelevant because I'm talking to you two. Stop worrying about what other people are doing. and
No,
worry
I
about what
don't.
you're
But it's
doing.
just that we just
I'm
want a
saying.
level playing field. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing to hide here. So we'll tell you. You can ask me anything
I
you
know,
want.
and I'm
Ask me
asking.
anything.
I'm glad, but cynical people.
You got to just. I just want you to grab it by the balls
But
and just.
KUGAN,
Yes,
KUGAN, we've had it. as I said, a great relationship. We speak every day, and
I don't know if you noticed you said had. Yeah.
No, we've got a great relationship, and we still have a great relationship. You know, we speak every day, and I say 90 to 95% of those conversations are really positive. But occasionally there's debate. Of course there is. There has to be in any relationship.
It's got to keep me on my toes.
If I'm not happy about something, or Eddie's not happy about something, we'll tell each other. Communication is the key.
But I do think as well the landscape has changed massively. I mean, actually, US boxing wasn't dead. But like 2 years ago, people weren't lining up to stick money into boxing over here, and now
they
doing
are.
it. Oh, what a time to be a fighter! Fuck.
I think the Tyson Fury news yesterday was very interesting. Very interesting indeed. You know, that's a lot of money they're paying. A lot of money. You know, ESPN, and it changes a lot. Deontay Wilder's situation. It changes the heavyweight landscape. And I think it's really good that we've got this to.
Yeah, we just get on with it.
There's a date. It's June the 1st. It's Madison Square Garden. It's a great adventure for Francie Joshua. It's the next chapter. Jarrell Miller, unbeaten. He's going to talk the talk. Can he walk it? We'll see. Listen, we've worked with Jarrell for the last couple of years, and it's going to be a massive event in June. And then we'll see what happens. We want AJ back in Britain, though. We don't want him just to come here now. But it's a great statement coming here to the States, and I think he'll go down an absolute storm here.
Scott, send me that picture.
Eddie, just a quick couple of things. What's happened to your...
That Madison Square Garden.
Not your, but Tom Little. You said he was going to feature on one of your Italian shows.
Yes, they refused to sanction him because he's got 3 stoppages on the spin.
Okay, so
I'm up for giving him another fight. Definitely. Speak to Greg Cohen actually later. Remember, he was the one who had him fighting in Bulgaria.
Okay, might do that actually.
Yeah. Just speak to Tom before you do it.
Quick word, what's your thoughts on Miguel Eubank this week, Edward?
Good fight.
Really good fight.
I expect Eubank to win by late stoppage.
Adam?
Yeah, really good fight. Really like the fight. Can't wait to watch it. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think, maybe I'd slightly lean towards Eubank. I think Miguel's got the skills where they can do it for 12 rounds.
I want Miguel to win.
I think Eubank.
You want him to win?
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Miguel. I hope he wins. But I think
we worked with James a lot over the years, and it'd be nice to see him have one great performance. But whether he's got it at this stage, this age, and Eubank is going to be there, stamina-wise, strength-wise. I think it's a tough fight for. It's a tough fight for both of them. It's a really good one, Koo. We look forward to it. You?
100% looking forward to it. Have you got
It's a good
anything else
fight.
you'd
Who
like
do you
to
think's going to win?
add?
Who do you think's going to win that fight?
The fans. Edward, do you
The fans.
have anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you. I think we're getting on the way in 40 minutes.
Can't wait.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Koo.